All right, welcome to another episode of Real Japan. I am Josh.
I'm Jason.
And I'm joined here on the mic with...
Tara. And Stacey.
And Wesley.
Woohoo!
Hey there. You guys might not be able to tell from the sound here, but Wesley is all the way in Japan.
I am in Osaka right now.
This is how we do social distancing.
Yeah.
Oh, now somebody's been dating this podcast that won't be released for another 5 years.
Hey, I got through the backlog, so this shouldn't take too long to come out.
Well, time will tell. So today we have watched a gem of a movie. You have to go back in time, though.
All the way back to 1974.
Wow. I'd say that was before we were born, but I think that's only true for me.
Oh, fuck you.
Boom!
No. This movie is from before when all of us were born. 1974's Lupin III Psychokinetic Strategy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a good.
Psychokinetic
Strange?
Strategy.
Oh my god. I can't remember the weird title of this weird movie.
Well, I mean, I think it's a pretty basic title for a 1974 movie.
Mm-hmm.
But, yes, for people who may not know, Lupin III is, a debonair thief, a man of many disguises,
Yes.
a rapist.
Yeah.
Whoa!
It was a different time then, but yes.
Yeah, Bond did it all the time.
Yeah.
This is around the time when Sean Connery's Bond, so that's like the norm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he usually seduced girls. Lupin, just chased him around Benihana style, as Stacey put it.
Benihana style, wow.
I was trying to say Benny Hill style, and it came out incorrectly, obviously.
You mean that's not how it works in Japan back in the 70s?
I don't know, I wasn't here yet.
Because my understanding is the Bond movies are just how it worked in England.
Oh, definitely. It's just a BBC documentary of England in 1974.
Yeah.
So would you say that Lupin III is a documentary of Japan in the 1970s?
Yes.
I would actually vouch for that. I was very surprised when they were walking around. The cars were a little bit dated, but nothing else was.
I mean, it looks to me like it's just Japan from 10 years ago.
No, the trick was you could tell by the cars. That car that Fujiko picks him up early on is a sweet classic, 1960s Austin Healey. And you're not going to find those anymore, but...
Shut up, car nerd.
Whoa!
Yeah, this isn't a car talk. So for people who are unfamiliar, Lupin III, like I said, is a debonair thief. Monkey Punch, the name of the mangaka, ripped off another story made by a Frenchman who had Lupin the First, and decided to make a story about his great-grandson. And then, since this is also back in the 60s, Japan didn't have copyright laws. So he was allowed to freely steal all the ideas he wanted, much like the character Lupin III.
Aha!
Yeah.
So he mixed in a bit of James Bond, a bit of slapstick. He likes the kind of a lovable rogue type character, and then of course throws in a cast of characters to go around that. So the main group is centered around Lupin III, also his erstwhile companion Daisuke Jigen, the gunman who can shoot somebody in 0.3 of a second. Fujiko Mine, the femme fatale, who originally was supposed to be a bunch of different James Bond-esque girls that changed every time, but then Monkey Punch got lazy and decided just to do one girl that just changed outfits constantly.
I just want to step in really quick and say that Fujiko Mine's name in Japanese means Twin Peaks, because she's stacked!
Yeah, so I thought, though, in this movie, her name should have been Yamato-ko, because she's flat like the plains of Tokyo.
Wow.
And missing from this movie, but appearing in the original series, was Ishikawa Goemon, the samurai, but I guess they didn't have the budget for a samurai, or...
Yeah, they couldn't afford a samurai guy to stand in Japan in the 1970s.
Yeah.
Goemon the Eighth.
Oh.
Isn't it the Eighth?
Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's the 8th.
I don't remember.
But yeah, it's interesting because both he and Lupin's foe, Zenigata, are actually descendants of famous Japanese historical characters, because like Josh was saying, he just stole a bunch of shit.
So yes, Goemon is descended from Ishikawa Goemon of the 16th century, who once tried to assassinate Nobunaga Oda.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. I guess we kind of go into like how familiar each of us are with the franchise that the movie is from. So, I mean, Josh and I have both seen some of the Lupin TV series, like not all of them, but at least parts of the 1978 one, and then also the most two recent ones, I believe, and then various movies here and there that came out over the years.
Well, but it's one of those shows. It's like Scooby-Doo. You watch 3 episodes, you nail the premise.
Yeah.
You know what it's about.
The most recent two, though, what Stacey was just saying, part 4 and part 5, are more storyline driven compared to like parts 1, 2, and 3, which were more one-offs.
It is true, but during this period of time, you will still see Lupin jump out of his trousers and try and sexually assault a woman.
Seduce. Woo.
It's more seduction. I think it's more seduction.
Is it seduction to have a skinny, half French, half Japanese guy jump out of his pants in his striped boxers and kind of try and do a swan dive into a bed?
In the 70s, yes.
That would scare me.
So, Tara, what's your familiarity with Lupin?
They asked me what generation. I said the 5th. They said you have to watch the movie.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Yeah, it's like, that doesn't really roll off the tongue as well as Lupin the Third.
And Jason, your Lupin experience?
Only, like, basic stuff. I know the main characters and
the
kind of
premise.
general premise.
And you know that Wes cosplayed as Lupin one year, and then Kenny cosplayed as a different Lupin based on the color of jacket a different year, and then one time they cosplayed both of the same year.
Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah, I mean, is this Kenny in a suit?
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I've cosplayed Lupin a couple times because it is pretty easy.
Well, you also have the build for it. Tall, lanky.
Drops his pants a lot.
Yeah, that sounds like Wes. That's
Now,
our
hold on.
Wes. Dun-dun-dun.
I'm sure Jen appreciates it, but...
I just want to say the first picture that my wife saw of you lot, I was the one wearing pants and Josh wasn't.
It's true. It's true.
So should we talk about my history with the series?
Yes.
Yeah, well, you said you cosplay, so go ahead.
I've seen pretty much everything.
All right. Well, so I do have questions for you, as we'll have. We'll now go into
The actual review.
the actual review of it.
Yeah.
As we're not that familiar with, well, especially the original manga, how true was this movie to the manga itself? The whole line of the Lupin Empire.
No.
No, just no.
Just now.
No. This was all made for the movie. It was very strange. Like I'm watching the intro bit, and I'm like, well, I guess this is a way to quickly set up a movie, but it's a very odd way to do it. Especially because by this point, the first season of the anime had already come out.
It was 4 years later.
No, this movie came out in 1974, and part 1 of the anime came out in, 1970. It was part 2 that came out later. Lupin the Third, first season. Pilot film came out in 1969. Anime came out from the end of 71 to 72.
All right. Well, this is why
Get
you're the
wrecked.
Lupin expert.
Thank you, Lupin expert.
And what was the theme song for that first anime season?
I don't remember.
Because the good one didn't come out till later.
That's the one that, that's the only one people know, is the one from the second season.
Yeah, well, because the one from the second season then gets remixed and released in every other season.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, not much of a Lupin expert, are you now? Well, you couldn't remember the theme song of the first season.
Yeah.
You hurt me. You hurt me deep.
So, yeah, I think it's a little hard to describe the plot of this movie because it was lacking from Fujiko.
Ouch.
But apart from that plot, the other plot seemed a bit disjointed and weird throughout. Like, there was kind of...
It seemed like it was 3 different episodes.
Yeah.
Like if you took 3 different episodes of the manga, or the anime, and then just kind of combined all 3 of them together in one feature-length film.
Yeah, no, I'll agree with that because the first one was very much kind of setting up the characters, you know, with Lupin falling in love with Fujiko at first sight of her in a prison van.
Yeah.
And so he, follows her.
As he rear ends a gay guy.
Yeah.
Who really, sets up a good proposition, I think.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you rear-ended me, and there's no way I can get married, so...
And And then you got Fujiko's sweet prisoner uniform with her prisoner number 696969.
And let's not forget that really hot kiss with that prison guard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Spider-Man's inspiration for the upside-down kiss.
Yeah, clearly.
100%.
Yeah. For those who haven't seen the movie, he hops on the prison van, talks to her through a window with bars, and when he goes to kiss her, she swaps it so he kisses the prison guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the classic thing. The main thing is that he's upside down, just like in the Spider-Man movie from, what was it?
Early 2000s.
Early 2000s?
Yeah.
Yeah, with Tobey Maguire.
Yeah. Clearly a beautiful romantic moment. And the movie was much more gay in the first 5 minutes than I was expecting for a 1970s film.
1970s Japanese film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, some of you have watched some Lupin before. Did you notice the homage to the original opening during the prison escape?
Yes, with the back and forth prison lights, they duck through it and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
I did like how at one point Fujiko throws her pants to distract the guards.
Yeah. And then they jump 20 feet in the air to avoid bullets. Because this kind of went into a lot of the slapstick territory, which sometimes worked better than others. Other times it was just like, this just seems weird. And
Name one time the slapstick did not work.
most of the times.
You were saying Benny Hill earlier, and I was really getting kind of a 1970s Hanna-Barbera cartoon feel from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some of that. We had the Three Stooges.
Yeah, so, there's another question for the Lupin expert. Did Zenigata ever have, like, a couple of dumb lackeys that were working with him a lot? Because I usually just remember him by himself.
Yeah, they were added in there just as, I guess, more characters for him to bounce off that had faces, because normally he just runs around with a generic white helmeted Interpol police.
So he said it was kind of like, making like a Three Stooges type thing where it just gives more opportunities for slapstick.
Well, and the police don't come across well in the original Lupin that I remember, but in this one, the police don't really come across well because he's trying to steal or get a ride, and he's like, there's a naked dead woman over there.
Like, what? Naked? Oh, he said beautiful? They kind of ignoring the dead part, like, there's like the naked and beautiful. We're gonna go find that girl, and I don't want to know, but help her.
Yeah.
She's already dead.
It's the Koban. It's the police box. They're just going to get in her box.
Anytime you're in trouble, you can always go to a Koban for help.
Yeah, clearly. And they'll go try to find a corpse and do unspeakable things to it.
Hey, the security guards later in the film, I mean, they pretty much just, did the same thing, but just over a woman's hand.
Yep.
Yeah.
They at least had the foresight to play rock, paper, scissors before seeing who could go check it out, though.
Oh, yeah.
And then they both went to go check it out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they didn't decide if loser went or winner went.
So like I said, the first part's just kind of setting up the characters. Daisuke Jingen is like the last survivor of the Lupin Empire.
The Lupin Junior Empire.
So Lupin the First was like quiet.
Yeah, he just did criminal things, and
But
the
he
second
was
one had
quiet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second was like, I'm going to build a whole empire.
And he combined everything into the empire, the whole world. He owned all of the criminals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for one group, apparently.
The macaroni gang.
Yeah, macaroni.
Yeah.
So you kind of find out about this in a very interesting way of introducing the Lupin character itself when Daisuke tracks him down to a Catholic orphanage, which I would say had the best acting in this movie.
Oh, wee.
Amen.
Yes. Like, how do you make a somebody French? You just take a Japanese guy, put a wig on him, and make him say "oui" a lot. And for 1970s Japan, that character is now clearly a French guy.
Yeah.
Oh, clearly I was fooled.
There was actually a lot of impressive French in this movie. Remember when the chief of police had to read the letter from Interpol? It was all in
that
French.
was pretty impressive.
And the subtitles said pseudo-French is being spoken.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clearly they did
the translators just kind of gave up and said, you don't care anyway, we don't care.
Well, that's part of the slapstick, because then the guy's like, oh, I'm not Mademoiselle. It's like, I'm not a Mademoiselle.
Yeah.
Yes, and in this they then recount Lupin III's upbringing, where he was like a Dennis the Menace style kid, doing the all those things that Dennis
Dennis the Menace did, like smoking at the age of 3 or stealing a nun's panties at the age of 5.
Or, using a slingshot to break out a window at age 10.
Well, that was Dennis the Menace. But
And that would have been the age of Dennis the Menace when he would have done stuff like that.
Yeah. So, I think we all agree that Dennis the Menace stole nuns' panties at the age of 5.
Yes.
Well, clearly.
If he had had access to nuns, yes, but I don't think Dennis the Menace had access to nuns.
He had access to Mr. Wilson.
I don't think that's a nun.
I think we've determined what Tara reads in her dojins. Some good old Dennis the Menace dojin.
Yeah.
No, my dojin consists of a completely different series that friends gave to me.
Is this
Are you
gonna
talking about the initial D one?
Yes.
That was like 20 years ago, Tara.
I still have it. I still cherish
Just because we accidentally gave you incest doesn't mean you have to keep bringing it up so
Whoa,
much.
whoa. Accidentally.
Anyway.
Well, does Wes have any takeaways from the first act?
I was surprised. They have a lot of the names of the main characters, of course, but like Jigen Daisuke in this movie acts nothing like Jigen Daisuke in any other Lupin property.
But he has the hat.
That's like slightly crushed. And he shot like the one guy in front of him in 0.3 seconds, and then shot 2 other random directions, and people fell out of the ceiling and died.
Yeah.
That's true. But that also gets me to my next point, in that you were saying that Ishikawa Goemon wasn't in the movie, but they've kind of merged part of him into Jigen, and that Jigen's more likely to get embarrassed in this. Jigen, after shooting those 3 guys, like, blows off his gun and goes like, again, I've drawn blood, which is just a slight change from Goemon's standard line. Then he drops his gun, which seemed really out of place, because it's, I don't know, Jigen's like supposed to be this super hard-boiled, suave assassin, hitman, gunman in everything else that's Lupin, and in this he was more... Everything was comic relief, but he was the comic relief for the comic relief, which felt kind of weird and out of place.
Well, yeah, but like you said, they could just be merging Ishikawa Goemon with Daisuke Jigen, right?
True, but even still, Goemon wasn't really comic relief all that much. So that they just kind of... And the whole movie is comic relief, so I don't know if you really needed a comic relief character.
Well, I think they just doubled down. I think what happened is every writer went to a separate room and came up with an idea for each of their characters, and then they came out with, we're going to be the comic relief of this movie.
Fair enough.
I agree with Wesley, though, that everyone was comic relief, but sometimes they were comic relief at odds with each other. Like, one was trying to pull out one gag, one was trying to pull out the other gag, and they were just...
We're not talking about your sex life.
Whoa. But in that vein, they would also like have references to the characters, but not just have the characters do it. And it's like, wait, this is the first Lupin movie that's been made. Why don't you just have the characters do their thing? Like for Zenigata, because he's based on the old Zenigata, the Zenigata in Lupin is always throwing handcuffs around, and he's very accurate with throwing handcuffs. That was a base on the original Zenigata being able to really accurately throw coins, to knock things out of people's hands or to just do anything he wanted pretty much by flinging a coin at them. And so you'll see this Zenigata, when he gets his pants ripped off, has a giant classic coin, just like the one the old Zenigata would throw, printed on his white boxers. So it's like they have the reference, but they don't actually have him throw anything throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
It's true. And also they were apparently too cheap to buy a trench coat.
Yes.
But they did have plenty of fake casts to put on him as he kept getting comically injured throughout the film.
I did enjoy that.
Well, because that's definitely part of Zenigata's thing, right? Because I do remember seeing a couple things where he's always getting injured, right?
Usually not by pounding his fist on a desk.
No.
Must be the
and
hardest.
usually not by running and then sliding on a gravel road so much that it melts the soles of his shoes.
Yes, yeah.
That the way they have to put the feet in some water
In the river.
in a hilariously steaming motion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very much a Hanna-Barbera, Flintstones kind of a style.
Mm-hmm.
So probably one of my favorite parts of the movie is actually when Jigen and Lupin meet for the first time.
The hammer space.
No, a gun space.
Yeah, gun space.
I thought you were going to talk about when he turns around and the brim of his hat has a little window that pops up so he can still look through it.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's like, wait, was his hat always like that? Or did Lupin do something to his hat, but then it was back to normal right after? Like, oh, I guess it was a gag, probably.
Yeah, the whole thing is a stretch of gags.
Yeah. But yeah, the scene Josh was talking about, then Lupin chases after Jigen and shooting at him, and he keeps pulling out different guns. It's like, how many guns do you have? And
Well, because Lupin keeps stealing them.
Yeah.
Right?
Lupin keeps stealing all of his guns, and then Jigen opens up his jacket, and you just see he has like tons of guns just shoved in there.
Festooned, I think, is the word.
Festooned, yes.
And Lupin's like, I give up.
Yeah, this Lupin's a little lazy. I mean, Lupin's lazy, don't get me wrong. But this guy seems more lazy than a normal Lupin.
Well, Lupin, if I would remember, like, he lazily planned things. Was lazy, but he, like, had some planning. This guy just kind of, like, just...
stumbled into everything.
Or just, sleight of hand and it's there.
Mm.
It's made him seem lazier.
Yeah, I don't think the white disco suit with the kerchief off the right side of his neck was really sold me on the Lupin character either.
Although, that's really good for, like, a Fred knockoff from Scooby-Doo when they were doing the running around through the concrete tubes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the Benny Hill sequences.
Yeah, where they're all chasing after Lupin, and there's all these concrete tubes. Like, there's a point where he's sitting outside the tubes. He's not even going in and out of them, and they're still just running back and forth around him. Like, they should see him, but I know it's a gag
But they were, because they
sequence.
were talking to him, and he was saying, no, he went that way.
Yeah.
He was directing him for a while. A couple times he was, like, traffic directing him, like...
Yeah. Silly. Very silly.
Well, yeah, there's also a lot of, like where they stop the film and then cut it in order to create special effects that led to this kind of interesting situations.
Yeah, it's like, we're just gonna boop, 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 just show the character moving, just boop, 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 like, by cutting it. So now they're over there, we're over there. And I don't know, is this supposed to resemble manga paneling or something? I don't know what the point was.
It's just supposed to be that he's moving faster than the eye can see, so that's just their way of, back in the 70s, kind of cutting that in. Because they've used that kind of, that style in other things.
Well, it's true, because in the $6 Million Man...
Yeah.
The reason why that's a kind of iconic opening scene where they're like, they rebuilt him, they made him faster, and then he's just slowly running. That's because they couldn't make him actually faster, so they just slowed him down to show that he's running so fast,
Well, they did show us some amazing 1970s technology where they took, like, this old photo and then blew it up, like, 100 times, and it was super clear. Like, I don't know how that worked, but apparently it did.
No,
they just did the old zoom enhance trick, and it worked.
Actually, they blew it up 100 times, and they blew it up 100 times more, and then an additional 10 times to get the tattoo. Is the tattoo part of the Lupin series?
I've never seen that before.
No. We're going to put in just a quick rule here. If you have to ask if it's part of the Lupin series, the answer is no.
Yeah, all right then.
Yeah, just making sure, since we didn't see everything, but I'm pretty sure, they've shown Lupin jumping out of his clothes many times, and there was never an L-shaped tattoo on his chest before.
I remember, I thought it was Lupin the 5th.
Oh yeah, so maybe the 5th generation Lupin might have a L tattoo on his chest.
Yeah, maybe that's what this is. We're actually just seeing that one.
Oh, I was going to say, they were kind of using that L as a calling card type thing, where in the original he just draws a little cartoon face of himself as a calling card.
Like the giant rubber stamp that they used to mark the truck.
Yeah.
That they conveniently still didn't notice.
Yeah, I know. It's like, let's mark this truck so it's obviously the one that we need. And then, where is it? We can't find it.
In that scene, someone else had come in behind him and marked all the trucks so they couldn't find it again.
And who was that person?
Fujiko.
Exactly. That would say that would probably be the best character that really holds true to the manga and anime. Is Fujiko. When he rescues her from the prison, he goes in for the kiss, and of course she does this. Yeah. That old standard trick that women do, when they pull a playing card out of their panties and then fling it at a tree to cut the branch to make it fall on people's heads.
Yeah.
It apparently doesn't knock them out. It just paralyzes them. So when you tip them over, their feet go straight up and stay straight up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how brain damage works.
Yeah. Or you can also use a playing card to knock a light off a light post and then pretend that it knocked you out. But then when Lupin goes to rape you, you kick him in the balls, and then you run off.
It was not on the balls.
Well,
it was squarely 3 inches from the chest.
Yeah, clearly it didn't even touch him, but it looked like she was trying to kick his balls. But
Okay, that would bring us to part 2.
Part deux.
Part
Oui, oui.
Yeah, remember, this is French.
Yeah.
So with part 2, I mean, the main thing was now that the gangs got together, now that Lupin wants to be with Fujiko, she does her standard trick of saying, "Oh, Lupin, let's go steal me some diamonds."
Yeah.
And
I'll
emeralds.
totally let you get with me after that. Wink.
Yes.
And that part, at that time, the gangs also found out that Lupin actually existed because up until that point, they thought they had gotten rid of the whole Lupin family.
So you're talking about the macaroni
The
game?
macaroni
Yeah,
game.
macaroni game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of leading to the lead up of the second part, is that. But it's still more focused on, like, the Zenigata bit.
Yeah.
More so, I think, than really fully introducing the macaronis.
Yeah.
But there was a gag bit where the faceless man, the Don of the macaronis, had a video recording, and that's did the again stealing bits from not old.
Yeah.
Very modern and current
Yes.
series.
At the time.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible.
yeah.
Yes, thank you. Mission Impossible, where they're like, this tape will explode. And,
Yeah.
they all run out of the building because
Yeah.
apparently they think a tape will
Be a giant
demolish a
explosion.
building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
When really it just like is in the tape recorder, just kind of goes poof.
Yeah, but instead a massive volcanic eruption happens at Mount Asami.
Yeah, it looked super realistic. Their volcano sequence.
I mean, that was true to life from every other volcano I've seen in Japan.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's kind of looked like there's a cardboard cutout of a mountain, and then just some flames shooting out of it.
I want to say it's like red liquid, like spitting up.
Well, I mean, it's a euphemism for sex because Lupin was getting it with a girl named Asami right before that, and then they're at Mount Asami that,
Yep.
has the
Yeah, that
eruption
was
to
kind
it.
of weird where, like, Lupin's just having sex with a girl on the floor and Jigen's just in the room, like, kind of watching them.
No,
But-
he's politely.
I guess he
looking
wasn't.
away.
I guess he wasn't looking, but he was like, clearly in the same room. Well, they're kind of in the hallway. He's in the room with the toilet that he's eating something off of.
I was gonna say,
That's
my
the
takeaway
table.
with that is that's far weirder. There's just a toilet in the middle of the room. He's eating lunch off it. Lupin sat on it earlier to spy on Interpol, which is apparently across the street.
Yeah.
But they still
Lupin-
can't catch him.
Yeah, but Lupin having sex with some random girl in the hallway. I don't know. I was fine with that.
That's fine.
I guess it was the 70s.
Yes.
Yeah, the sexual revolution.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, don't push women's rights back to the 1950s.
Yeah, what's the matter with you?
We also learned of one of Zenigata's psychokinesis powers, which is apparently falling in a river.
Yes.
Oh, yes, because he can't... Wes, you've been to England a couple times. What's
Yes,
it
that's
called when you jump across pole vault across a small canal?
Pole vaulting?
No, there's another word. It's England.
Yeah,
It's like a
probably
standard American word.
Schooly woolly wally woo.
Oh, when you give it the old ribbity hoppity.
Yes. Yeah, sounds accurate.
Is that what that is? Okay.
I mean,
There I was, me and my mates running from the bobbies after we were caught scrumping, and we got a river in our way, so we gave it the old ribbity hoppity. He fell in, we got away.
yeah. Checks out.
All right. Okay.
That's how I remember this movie.
Okay.
That. So, of course, since they are, the best thieves ever, they decide to sneak in wearing bright red clothing. Well, it's Fujiko.
Well, Fujiko has
Yeah.
like a bright red mini dress, and Lupin. Well, I think he was wearing black with a matching neckerchief. But then they stole security guard clothes for a while. Then they went back to their.
For a while, they were in him for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, why did they even bother to take the outfits if they were just going to immediately change back once they got into the jewel room?
Because
Okay.
they had to sneak past the internal security guard.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, there's like 3 layers of security guards, all with different outfits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my question is it starts out where they're sneaking in by Fujiko sitting on Lupin's shoulder, lifting a manhole cover all the way out of the hole, holding a cover, looking in a bright red dress.
Yeah, it's another sexual euphemism.
Wow.
Red rocket, red rocket, red rocket.
I don't think they'd bother to put a cover on it in the 70s.
Oh.
But so they make their way into the vault easily enough. I don't think anything really even tries to stop them.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the best way to steal a bunch of priceless jewels is to have Jigen shoot a hole in the wall with his gun and then feed a vacuum pump through it, which somehow links up with the sewer system, so it comes out of a toilet.
Clean.
Yes.
Yes.
Have you ever plumbed a house in Japan?
Can't
Only
say I
once.
have. But yeah, so he sends the vacuum tube up through the toilet into the jewel room where Fujiko and Lupin vacuum up all the jewels. And then Fujiko's like, oh, but there's much more stuff in the safe over here. We should open the safe.
Yeah, and see, that's really the big lesson of Lupin, is not to trust broads. Because if Lupin right? The main thing is he's got the most of the jewels, he can just leave. Because what's behind the locked door?
Well, first, the way you open it is, of course, there's like this giant pad that you just kind of bop at the buttons in a linear sequence, and then the door just opens.
Yeah, because that is Lupin's psychokinetic power.
Is a safe cracking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think they should have done a bit of an homage to the Fonz and just had him like this. Hey!
And then it magically opens.
Yeah, exactly. But it would have been the same thing, but at least we would have got another good reference out of it.
Yeah, and so then you open the safe and there's Zenigata and like dozens of guards and stuff to come hassle them.
Not dozens.
Oh.
This movie did not have a big enough budget for dozens.
A dozen?
Yeah.
There wouldn't have been, the Fonz joke wouldn't have worked, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, what was that?
Happy Days came out in 74, and as we know, Japan is always a decade behind, so they didn't get it until 84.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
That makes sense.
Can't have a Fonz joke.
No jumping the shark this time.
So, of course, then you're going to have your Benihana moments with people running around.
We're just going to keep saying, are you doing that on purpose or?
No.
No.
All right.
But Lupin shows up with the golden gun that he stole from James Bond.
Oh, yeah, so Wesley, is the golden gun part of Lupin?
No.
What did we tell you before?
No?
So then they go into the this amazing chase sequence.
Yeah.
You mean the one where they...
everyone else is so dumbfounded by the amazing chase sequence that was put on. I mean, I can sum it up in this one scene where Zenigata is so frantic at getting to Lupin that he molests a female police officer who was driving the car and ends up
in a crash because he's touching her boobs as she's trying to drive and like stripping off her clothes. Like, what the fuck? And then they crash and some fireworks come up.
Yeah.
And then another one of Zenigata's psychokinetic powers is that they switched clothes once they came out of the wreckage there.
That was your WTF? My WTF was when she was like, I'm not married. And she starts grabbing his hands and he...
Well, of course she's not married because she has a career. If she was married, she would be at home. Am I wrong, Wes?
No, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
For 1970s and modern Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was... I mean, there was a lot of cringy assault-type scenes, but that one seemed one of the most gratuitous.
Well, gratuitous, yes. I'll give it gratuitous.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say one of the most cringeworthy, but that would really be the ones when he was really like, when he's just like, oh, by the way, stole your bra.
Yeah.
You're clearly not into this.
But she stole his underwear.
Did she?
Yeah.
I thought she stole his wallet.
Oh, was it the wallet?
Yeah, stole his wallet back.
Oh, okay.
Because she stole it first, he stole it back.
And then stole her
And then
bra. And then she stole his wallet.
Okay.
And a bra back.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought he was making it look like she stole his underwear.
No, he just gets out of his... I mean, he usually keeps his underwear on, but he loses his pants a lot.
I mean, they were making a reference of that later
No,
in
he lost
another
his
scene where it's
underwear.
like, you sure take your pants off a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he did lose his underwear in the movie.
So after the chasing, they get away. Of course, they find out that Fujiko Mine has double-crossed them,
Shocking!
which is definitely not in the original.
No,
Wes?
never.
What, Fujiko double-crossing him?
Yeah.
That is
Never happens. Never happens.
Yeah, never happened.
That was the part that honestly struck me as the worst, just like butchering of a character in this. If you go back and you look at the original Lupin series, in like every one of them, except for the woman called Fujiko Mine, which is garbage and you shouldn't watch it, Fujiko is, out of every anime girl, like the most loyal, the most trustworthy, the most honest, and that they chose to go away from that in this movie was just disgusting.
Yeah, shocking. Very shocking.
Yeah, it's like all she is interested in is jewels.
I know, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's not
Everyone
her.
knows that she's also interested in money, in rare artifacts that she can sell for money.
Money, 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 money.
Different currencies of money that she can then sell for a common currency of not money.
Exactly.
She call her Fujiko Money.
Well, what?
Because she's flat like a dollar bill.
Wow.
So yeah, after she escapes, then it kind of starts going into like the third and final part of the movie, the third episode.
Yeah, so the first Mission Impossible is to send assassins after Lupin. And the first one, Lupin quickly dispatches so fast that he had to rewind time, break the fourth wall, and show him how quick he actually dispatched this person.
It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, he definitely, I don't know why he felt the need to run around a train car to get to him, just to hit him in the back of the head with his trademark golden gun. But I actually preferred the cut from, like, the preview that just showed those two just, like, shooting at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we looked at what special features were on the disc, and it's like, oh, here's a trailer for the movie, and it's like, well, what does it show there? In the trailer, it showed those two shooting each other. It's like, in the movie, they didn't shoot each other at all. He just went and knocked him out, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, and the trailer showed Lupin flying around in a helicopter shooting gangsters, and that also didn't happen.
No.
His going around the train car made actually a lot of sense, because you had to break line of sight so you didn't provoke an attack of opportunity.
Yes.
But that's only if you don't. If you stay at 10 feet outside of his range, you'll be fine with that too.
Yeah, but he wasn't going to shoot him. He was going to karate chop him. You're not going to karate chop him from 10 feet away.
This isn't D&D.
It's not?
Yeah.
And the thing about that is that he was like a cowboy. Every assassin had a very stereotype.
You need to have your assassins have a stereotype vibe. Otherwise, how can you tell them apart?
So this was the cowboy assassin.
Yeah.
Exactly. Think to Star Wars, right? It's like, let's get a group of assassins, and they're all widely different, right? They even go to points to one in specific, and goes, no disintegrations, right? Because they're all a cast of unique characters. They're not the faceless Interpol people, or the faceless gangsters. They are the lone cowboy. The 6 girls in hot pants that dance fight with them.
Yeah.
Okay, but there was a scene between the 6 girls and the lone cowboy. Because it started the lone cowboy.
Lonesome cowboy.
Yes.
Yeah, then he was having fun with the lady.
Yeah,
was a stick
he was
figure.
having a very censored sex scene
Yeah.
with some other lady. And with assassins hiding in the trees.
Which led to more, like, kind of slapstick type fighting, but with guns. Like, where he shot a bullet back and it went, like, through the barrel into the guy's eye.
Yeah, that was great animation, I thought.
Yeah.
And then the eye wound itself, I was getting major flashbacks to Riccio.
Yeah. I know that we should check to see if the same makeup artist worked on both films.
Well, I think if one was Japanese and one was, like, Hong Kong, they're probably not the same.
Yeah.
This was the 1970s. They were still the same then.
Okay.
So yeah, our censorship was 2 stick figures in the bed.
Well, yeah,
Well, it's like the male and female symbols turned into stick figures, rolling around.
Pounding each other.
Yeah, pounding in the bed.
not once, not twice, but thrice.
Yeah, for Lupin the Third, he can go 3 times.
Well, yeah.
Oh, shit, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not because he's a third in the generation. I assume that's original canon, right?
100%.
You heard it here, guys.
Yep.
No, the assassin was waiting and kept trying to shoot him, but he wouldn't because he might hit the girl.
No, I thought he didn't shoot them because they turned into stick figures, and he's like, I can't shoot a stick figure. I need to shoot the guy.
Yeah. That's why the assassins didn't shoot, is because they couldn't see him.
Because he's being censored.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they even had the whole thing where they're like, we have to cut this.
Yeah.
It was like something like, due to 1975 statute change. Didn't it flash on that screen real quickly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like...
Yeah, it was just like a specific law number. Law number blah, blah, blah means we can't show blah.
Yeah, but it was a different time then.
Is there, it's probably not rated, right?
I think back then it probably wasn't rated.
Yeah, back then, things appeared on TV like Gona Guy's Devilman Crybaby.
It's a better time.
Well, I guess not Devilman's Crybaby.
Oh yeah, not Crybaby, but
Devilman.
But other Gona Guy stuff.
Yeah, that was like Saturday morning.
Saturday morning with the kids.
Yeah.
You mean like Blockbuster? It was in the anime section, so it must be a kids movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
La Blue Girl, totally fit for a 16-year-old kid. But Cat Girl Nuku Nuku, totally, you have to be over 18 to rent that.
Yep.
Fist of the North Star?
Yeah, Shonen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is in Shonen Jump, the magazine for kids to read.
No, okay, so
Blockbuster didn't know what Shonen Jump was.
So, after he hit the two assassins, then we come to the musical number that every movie needs.
Mm-hmm. Where you have 6 girls dressed up as nuns, but then they throw off their habits and they've all got hot pants, and then they all start doing a dance sequence.
So you guys all saw that coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
No.
No, I was too busy.
Maybe it was just me, but as he goes walking by the nuns, before he even said something about him, I'm like, all those nuns are wearing high heels. Something's going to happen here.
Whoa, I think... Well, in my dojins, old nuns have high heels.
I just saw the nuns and knew something was going to happen. There are 6 nuns in a Lupin movie.
And it was late at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think... And they're not really close to a convent. I mean, it's Japan.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
I mean, they were very suspicious from the start.
Yeah. So, like, my question was this, like, some well-known pop group or something?
Yeah, they're called the Poppies.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was on all of their monogrammed leather jackets they wore.
Yeah. Because it seemed very random. It seems like this is a reference, that people watching this movie back in the day would understand. Like, oh, it's them. But we didn't get it.
After they did their number and their fight, the fight ended because they accidentally ripped off his underwear, looked at him, screamed, and ran the other direction.
Yeah, he should probably get that checked.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they all saw his dick and they ran, and he's like, oh, why'd they run? And then he looks down and sees his own dick and is like, it's like, apparently he's never seen his own dick before, I guess.
I think he was just embarrassed. I mean, he tries to keep his pants on all the time, and then this woman comes along and just cuts him off with a knife she pulled out. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, all he was trying to do was sexually harass him.
Yeah.
And then they pull out a knife on him.
Yeah. Rude.
Well, to be fair, they were attacking him first. I don't know if that actually counts as reasons to...
I'm trying to debate the law in my head here on, like, if somebody attacks you, are you licensed to then be able to sexually assault them in return? As, like, a defense? I don't know if that would fly.
That's my thing, is I don't... Because he flung them away. He did cope feels, which wasn't right. But then he flung them away.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I think the main part of it was that they just could show some more flat Japanese asses to the camera.
They do that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, so after the assassin sequence, the movie transitions to, the next big score, because, most spy movies, I should say theft movies, kind of center around the big score. This movie shoves in 2 of them
Yes.
in its runtime. And then they finally kind of introduce why it's named the Psychotropic gun show.
Psychokinetic.
Strange psychokinetic strategy.
Yes. With some, weird, Peruvian pots that have gems in the eye.
Well, if they're Jomon period Japan, it wasn't even foreign stuff.
It was national.
because they're so cheap they can't even go international.
Yeah.
Most Lupin shows actually, I think, take place in Italy.
Yeah, they get around.
So like a lot of them take place just going anywhere in the world that they feel like it. And then season 4 was all France, I believe, and season 5 was all Italy, or that's the other way around for those two.
Yeah.
Because he's an international thief, not just like in Japan.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this one, because this is his starting out, or his origin story, so
Kind of.
he even said specifically that he believes that everything in Japan belongs to him.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. As he sleeps in a cement tube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's just where he felt
Yeah.
like it. That's where he felt like sleeping that day.
He can also
Another
sleep
day.
in the weird toilet room.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he wants to. Across the street from Interpol.
Or he can just pretend to turn himself in and sleep in a prison cell.
Yeah.
That was like the end of episode 2 and like beginning of episode 3. For some reason, he was just like, I'm turning myself in.
Yeah, he was bored and he wanted a place to sleep.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's not really like stealing.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Just kind of fucking with Zenigata. And
I think that's the point here is that Lupin doesn't feel that he's actually stealing anything because it all belongs to him in the first place.
Yeah.
No, I don't buy it.
Yeah, all right.
So, we have to escape from jail. So, the way we escape from jail is a psychic comes in as his lawyer.
No,
No,
it was
Jingen.
it was Jingen. He comes in dressed up as an old Japanese guy who's a lawyer. Talks to him while the Larry and Curly are sitting outside.
It is easy, though, to see where the mistake came, because the guy playing Jigen didn't look like Jigen, and he did look like an old Japanese man.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, there wasn't much acting there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really, the only true acting was the French priest. Everybody else has played old Japanese guys.
Yeah.
Oh, subarashi! Amen.
Actually, even Fujiko played an old Japanese guy.
Yeah, at one point Fujiko played a dirty hippie leading Lupin and Jigen astray because she just felt like it.
Sounds like something she'd do.
Yeah, because she's Fujiko and she's always be deceiving.
Yeah.
ABD.
Yep.
So there's that, again, slapstick bit where Jigen goes in to get Lupin out of prison, comes back out. You can actually even see where they cut the film because it jumps a bit.
Yeah, I
And then they
noticed
replay it again.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they could have just, apparently, I think they could have just like cut a hole in the wall and then just had the guy go around and then come back out again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, it's the slapstick Mo and Curly bit of like, oh, well, one.
Well, the lawyer came out, and then like 30 seconds or 10 seconds later, another lawyer came out, and they're like, wait a second, didn't the lawyer just come out? Yeah. And did another lawyer just come out right after him? Oh, yeah. Oh, what? And then
And Lupin's gone. What?
Okay, so we skipped a small part about that, only in that Fujiko manages to get herself kidnapped by the Macaroni gang. And so Lupin's like, I'm going to stay in jail. And they're like, but Fujiko's been kidnapped. And he's like, what? You must rescue my love. And then escapes.
Nice, he had motivation to get out of there.
Yeah, because that's the only thing that motivates him.
His poon.
Well, Fuji's spoon.
Yeah. The promise of it that she's totally going to deliver on, wink.
Whoa, are you saying that she's obligated to deliver poon to a guy just because he helps her?
No, I'm
No,
just...
someone's pushing women's rights back to the 1940s.
No. Whatever.
She is the worst.
So this is really what sets up the third act. Fujiko has been kidnapped. Of course, I don't know, kind of fell into the whole thing because she literally fell into a net
Yeah.
Yeah.
when she jumped off the side of a ship to escape and then just landed in a net.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
She didn't see when she
I know, because she was like jumping off the side and she jumps directly into... Like, it's not like the net was purely below. The net was hanging down from where she jumped, so she should have seen it.
No, I will defend Fujiko on this one.
Oh, okay.
Because when she jumped, it totally wasn't there. Because you can, again, see the cut in the film where they then
magically appeared.
Where they magically appeared, yes.
Maybe she was aiming for the net. Maybe it was laid out flat and she was aiming so as like a base to catch, so then
No,
drop
because the
down
crane
into the
wasn't
water.
there.
I was working it.
Yeah, I think at best, if the net was laying there flat, she was attracted to it because, two peas in a pod.
Whoa!
So Lupin escapes to go get Fujiko, and so this statue with the gems, this national treasure, apparently the macaroni guy has forgotten about Lupin because he's in jail and they don't care, so they're going to do this big theft. So they got this whole plans.
There is a bit of an artistry to pulling off a heist. This is not a heist. This is they literally dropped some rocks on a road, waited for the cops to get out of the car, roll the papier-mâché rocks off, while being very pleased with themselves to do mundane work. They had a whole song about how great they were.
Yeah.
And then they jumped out, surrounded them, and said, "Hey, give us this thing." That's not a heist. That is very lazy thieving.
Hold up. You're missing once again, this show has borrowed something from another product. This whole heist was just flat out the opening scene of the 1969 version of The Italian Job. They're driving through the mountains. They drop boulders on the road to stop them. The mafia shows up on the hill all holding guns and says, "Turn around and get the fuck out of Italy."
You son of a bitch. I'm in. All right, we're back to a heist movie.
Yeah.
All right.
The heist is on.
So it was a heist because they actually heisted the whole scene from another movie.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we could probably resplice this entire movie by finding other movies and shows and then string them together. Yeah.
Probably.
Now, this is one of the parts that I was actually kind of the most perplexed about is, this is happening, but again, the focus is on Lupin rescuing Fujiko, who is in some sort of concrete bunker that's set out to be like a 1960s
Ocean liner.
Yeah, kind of set out on the coast. And he goes to rescue her, but then somehow the whole building gets spun around.
Because he kind of crashes up against it and then it spins.
Yeah, that's not how
foundations work. Yeah.
It was built on a cliff, so there wasn't any foundation.
So they didn't put any rebar standing up to keep it from spinning. This is Japan.
Yeah.
Land of earthquakes, volcanoes, typhoons, Kenny falling out of bed after eating the entire Japan supply of butter.
No, Josh, again, you are forgetting. This is 1970s Japan, which means that they either built things out of wood or they didn't have all the new engineering codes put into effect after the Kobe earthquake, which was in 95. Or in that magical period where they did a bunch of concrete structures, but they didn't know what they were doing, so the buildings could freely spin.
Yes. Science checks out.
So like Osaka-jo, or Osaka Castle.
Yes.
Which was also built in the 1970s. So I have a theory that if we ran a motorcycle into Osaka-jo, it will spin around. Yeah.
Wes, you have to go try it out.
Yeah.
No, see, because you're forgetting the important part again. As we saw in Ninja Batman, Osaka-jo is actually a dormant Joker robot castle.
That's true. That's true. Which leads me more credence that it would probably spin.
It's true. Very true. I will concede.
So once the building spun, it spun off of its foundations, and then they did, and I know I've seen this in several movies from that same time period, that whole bus or car on a cliff joke.
Again, that was the end of The Italian Job.
Now the entrance of the building is over the cliff, so they're oh, whoa, we can't get out because the oceans will fall into the ocean.
And it's just tilted, teetering, the whole building's gonna go.
Yeah, so Lupin and Fujiko are she's oh yeah, we'll save the sex for later. And Lupin's no, let's just do it now. And she's okay, sure. As the building keeps tilting more and more, and then they're what's going on here? Oh, things are rolling to the other side and I'm sliding down. I don't know what's going on. Let's just keep trying to have sex here. And then after a couple minutes of that, they're oh, the building's tilting? Oh my god!
They don't have sex.
They don't. They're trying.
Yeah. So nobody watches the movie to this point and gets disappointed by Stacey's comments.
I said they're trying, not that they are.
Honestly, I think the person who gets the most action on screen is Zenigata when he's filling up that cop in the car.
Oh, God.
Oh, it's true. It's true. No, because you're forgetting about that random girl that...
Lupin banged like 2 random girls.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
the
wait,
one
no,
in the...
one of them was entirely under sheets and you didn't see anything, and the other one they got censored. So the one you see the most action on screen is Zenigata in the car.
Well, if that's how we're saying it, then the one who got the most action is the male stick figure.
Male stick figure wasn't credited in the credits, so he probably didn't get his SAG rates.
He didn't have enough lines.
Yeah.
But he was all lines.
So, luckily, Daisuke Jigen is the solely competent person out of this whole masquerade of a movie. Because while that's going on with Lupin, and Zenigata has managed to get his entire Interpol task force captured by the mob, Daisuke just swings in with some helicopter that he happens to have, releases the Batman-like magnet,
Yes, the giant magnet, and then picks up the safe and
flies off, and then shows up just in time to rescue
Lupin and Fujiko from the house that they're now falling out of because they eventually slid out the door and were hanging off the cliff.
Okay, but we gotta get to the best part of that one. Is that they managed to crawl up to the side that's not hanging off the cliff, that's not teetering, and it looks like the house might, but then the unconscious guy rolls to the door, and they fall out because it tilts more. But they grab his belt that has been pecked by a raven.
Yeah, so I was kind of not paying attention at that point in time because I was trying to find out about the poppies. That group of
Random assassins.
non-assassins. Wes, what was your take on the crow perched on the guy as they fell out of the building?
Well, the Poppies were a 6-person women's girl group who only had like 8 records from 1970 to 1978 in Japan. And I can see why you'd put them in this, is to be kind of that, woohoo, look at these cute girls we've got who were also popular at the time. But, wait, what was the question?
The raven was the guy unconscious while they were hanging out of the building.
I don't know. I'm sure this is a euphemism for sex.
That's fine.
So,
Also, we don't have ravens here in Japan. We only have crows.
oh, it's true.
Lupin is falling. Fujiko's holding onto his belt. His pants are giving away again. I'm shocked.
What?
As she was holding his pants, they were kind of starting to slip.
No, how could you possibly be shocked at that?
Yeah. How many pants have you held on tightly to while dangling off a helicopter? Well, not even off a helicopter, off of a safe that's attached to a helicopter via a comically large
magnet.
Yeah, like from Acme.
At that point, I wasn't actually holding on. I was holding on to a belt hanging out of the house yet, because we haven't dropped yet. It was at that point where his belt started to give away.
No belt is going to hold up to that.
I grant you that.
Yeah.
And no, I have never had the pleasure of hanging on to a man's pair of pants over a steep drop down a cliff into an ocean.
Well, I mean, who hasn't?
Apparently
Apparently.
not Tara.
Me.
Jeez.
Typical Tara.
I live such a sheltered life.
It's true. It's true. That happens to me at least like twice a year. Less now that West doesn't live in the U.S. anymore.
It's true. I brought all my daring helicopter escapes with me to Japan.
So then they fall, and then the crate swoops in and they catch the crate.
Yeah, and they fly off, and the helicopter starts losing fuel, and it starts sputtering. So they drop it conveniently off at the National Science Museum, where they were originally, where it was originally supposed to go anyway. And we have a happy ending because Lupin is the national hero.
Yay!
It's true. It's true. And actually, Zenigata is also a national hero bit, too, because he manages to catch the entire Macaroni gang, because while they're all looking at the escape, he just has his Interpol police run up behind him and arrest all of the gangsters.
Yeah. Except they all escaped off screen.
It's true, because one guy still had a gun.
Yeah. They all escaped off screen, and Zenigata got blamed for that.
Yeah, yeah. And Lupin was let free because he was a national hero, and that the only witness was Zenigata, who was an absolute liar for his boss.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't
And-
But
trust
they
him.
have a mustache.
Well, you know, you can't. Honestly, I'm surprised that Zenigata wasn't put on suicide watch, because he tries to commit suicide in this movie.
Yeah, he does.
It was the 70s. Nobody cared then. It was a gag.
Since Goemon wasn't here, they didn't have a samurai sword to actually commit seppuku, so he tried to use his gun.
Yeah, and then he tried to, well, after chasing out his subordinates with a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, again, totally 1970s Japan.
Yeah, just regular disciplinary action.
Yeah, well, I guess the gun, not the gun, so the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is Japan. You can't have a gun like that out there. I don't believe regular Koban police have guns.
I mean, in Osaka, but...
Well, yeah, but in Osaka, you can get a street fight just by walking out the door and accidentally bumping into a person.
It's true. It's true. It's happened to all
It's
of us.
happened to Wes like twice this week already.
Yeah, but I do it on purpose. I don't count.
Yeah, Wes is the guy outside your door that you bump into, and he's just like, jump. That we can hear the sounds of the coins in your pocket, so he knows how much to rob you.
Yeah, okay.
Wes leaves his house.
Only for those purposes.
Yeah,
Okay.
only to make money.
No, he doesn't really leave the house. This is just to Jen when she leaves for work in the morning.
Gotcha.
I need my lunch money today.
I mean, this is all true. I don't know if you're looking for a response here or what.
Well, yeah, because we were just planting some cameras around Jen's and Wes' house.
Yeah.
It was really
We're
hard
actually
when they moved.
watching Wes on camera right now.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be doing that while we're doing or while we're recording.
Yeah,
the
hand
podcast.
check.
Yeah.
It works affectionately.
I'd see his hands go up, so you know what that means.
Back to the movie, there was one final part. So he's a national hero and they have a certificate, and the police commissioner's is going to make Zenigata present it to Lupin.
So then they run around a cargo bin.
Yep. And we get one more Benihana sequence.
Yes.
Like, oh,
So-
that's wacky.
And then he breaks the fourth wall for the final time, where he looks at you and says, "I'm tired, I'm done running." Lupin does as he breaks through it from the chase. It's
Yeah,
just
but
like-
you would never hear from the actual Lupin. He's always running.
Abayo, Tochan.
See, exactly like that. So overall, what do you guys think of the film?
I thought it was very odd, kind of disjointed with all, as we talked about, like multiple plot points going on, a lot of gags interspersed with all of it, some of which worked, a lot of which didn't. Yeah.
So, this movie didn't age well. There were a lot of questionable actions, things that are no longer acceptable. I think for the time, for a movie coming out for people who love the anime and the manga, this was probably a pretty good movie, if a little disjointed. But if you look at it as like the three separate parts, it makes more sense. But as a whole movie, it doesn't really work.
Wes?
It existed. The characters were, having watched probably too much Lupin, the characters were almost too far removed from what I would expect from them. And I think that I would have preferred that played the characters a little bit more like the regular ones, even if you still want to make it more slapsticky and stuff. So, I don't know, it was fun to watch and talk about, but I'm not going to really feel a need to watch it again.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. It was a fun movie to kind of watch. It had the little bit of the campy feel to it with the additional humor that kind of kept it going. And the odd cuts were a little off-putting, but overall, I guess a product of its time. But it's still an okay movie.
Yeah, I think when you're taking it as you said, Jason, as it's really 3 episodes kind of put together with kind of a plot to tie it together, it does come together better. I wouldn't say it was an absolutely stellar or even mid-range movie. I mean, overall, it wasn't entirely bad. It's not definitely the worst one we've watched.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, it's dated, but so is Friends at this point in time. Go back and watch that. That's rough.
Yeah.
Because they should have known better. This is 1974 Japan.
Nobody cared then.
Yeah. It would have been interesting to have watched it in 1974 and then to be Japanese to really get all the references. Because I think a lot of them, I think all the girls were famous Japanese people at the time. So when he's, with the girl in the toilet room. Mm-hmm. You don't see her, and at the end, a futon comes out and you see her face. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that meant something.
Yeah, I think both the girls he was with and the assassins, because I noticed when we watched that preview, they kind of singled out those characters and gave their actors' names. So I assume they were famous people, even though they were just cameos in the movie, because they still pointed them out in the trailer, even if their scene was only a couple minutes long. So yeah, they probably were famous.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of had a little bit of the Bond film type feel to it when it came to they had pseudo big names potentially at the time.
Correct, and I mean that's what Monkey Punch, again, the author of Lupin, was trying to be kind of for with this too, was mixing in the elements of James Bond. Mm-hmm. I think probably the worst part is that if anything else, Lupin, Fujiko, Zenigata, and Daisuke again are all kind of doing cameos in a movie that's supposed to be about them.
Yeah.
Much less than it being a movie about them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. So, I mean, overall.
Yeah. What do you want to rate it?
Yeah. I'm torn because again, and actually watching the film quality for a 1974 film wasn't that bad.
Yeah. It actually felt like it had a moderate budget for something at the time.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a bit conflicted on which star rating to give it. So I'll have Stacey go first.
I think I'll go with 2.5 Benny Hill chase sequences out of 5.
Yeah.
I think you are right. The cinematography was really good. The slicing wasn't that great. And the movie pacing wasn't that great. Okay. I'm going to go 2 out of 5 assassin deaths.
Okay. Yeah, I think with the 3 episodes combined, but it was kind of missing the overarching plot to kind of tie all 3 of them together. So I would go 3 Stooges out of 6.
Wes?
I think I'm going to be actually then the meanest out of all of us on this one. And I'm going to give it a Lupin the Third out of 10. Just because it came up a few times in the discussions here that it was kind of an introduction. Who are all these characters? Which Lupin was still new enough at the time. There'd been the one anime season out, most of the season had been directed by Hayao Miyazaki, but he wasn't really a big name yet. And so you have to kind of do the introduction, but nowadays, if people are trying to get into Lupin, they've got a lot better ways to do it. There was a Lupin movie that came out just last year called Lupin III the First, and I think that movie was really, really good and would serve as a great introduction to the series for anyone who's trying to get into Lupin. So maybe if you've watched a lot of Lupin and you're like, let's see something weird and crazy from the beginning of it, sure, I'd recommend someone to go watch this, but I'd never go up to someone and be like, hey, you should go watch this weird live-action Lupin, unless they really cared.
Yeah, well, the issue with that, though, is the movie that came out last year, Lupin the Third, the First, is animated. So we can't actually watch that, and we have to watch this live action.
Yes. This is our only option.
Yeah, it is automatically disqualified from appearing on Real Japan.
Yeah. This is about, how well does it adapt from the source material. And as Wes is saying, overall, it didn't work. Yeah. It's kind of a fun, quirky movie from the 70s with Japanese antics in it. With that, I would probably give it higher. But if we're going to, really bring in, is it Lupin the Third? I'm going to give it 1 flat-chested Fuji cakes out of 5. Okay. 1 being because it's flat.
Yeah, you made that clear throughout this episode.
Josh, would you be saying that on a scale from, say, A to double D, it's firmly in the A range?
Oh, hands down. Because she's still very attractive, so I'd still be masturbating to her.
Wow, okay.
And now you have more.
And now we're done.
Hold it. And now I'm done.
Dun dun, Lupin the Third. Lupin the Third. Oh wait, that's the opening to the original Lupin.
Oh, you just remembered. Watch.
Thank you for another resounding episode of
Real Japan.
Next time we'll pick a more modern show. but we don't know what that is yet because we haven't got that far.
Yeah. It'll be a surprise for everybody.
Even us, because it'll probably be like 7 months from now.
So, thank you. Again, this was Lupin the Third.
We can't say the fucking title.
Yeah,
We don't know the fucking title.
Psychokinetic Strategy.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, it's such a forgettable title.
Yeah.
It's a weird title, like
Because
the movie.
Psychokinetic was only mentioned 3 times.
But it wasn't really strange. It just seemed to be very common.
Strange psychokinetic
Strategy.
strategy.
Yeah.
Was there any strategy? There's zero strategy.
Yeah, there's a strategy.
But it was strange psychokinetic strategy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the title.
I mean, the main thing, it's Lupin the Third.
Lupin the Third.
Da, 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 da.
真っ赤なバラはあいつの唇優しく抱きしめてくれと願う瞳の奥に獲物を映して寂しく問いかける愛のありか男には自分の世界がある例えるなら空をかける一筋の流れ星